Hello, everyone, and welcome along to the latest edition of Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, the #1 tennis betting podcast brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. We spoke about the men's tour yesterday with Sean Calvert on the ATP Tour Show, and now it's the women's turn. We're looking ahead to 3 WTA 250 events this week. I'm over in Hamburg, where one of the tournaments is in progress, and I'm delighted to say joining me to look ahead to these 3 tournaments is our WTA handicapper, for Because We Win, it's Rory Jiwani. Rory, you've got the England kit on there. I don't know what you should. We're not in World Cup year, no European Championship. Is there any Brits in action in the women's this week? But how are you, mate? You okay?
I'm okay. I think we've got one actually. I want to say Jodie Burridge. I think she's in one of the tournaments this week. But
so is the kit in honour of Jodie Burridge?
No. I just put it on this morning. And it just went on. But yeah, 3 250 tournaments this week. We had 2 last week. I think we're a bit unlucky. There was a boil over in Budapest. So you had the lucky loser, ranked 246 in the world, Maria Timofeyeva, winning it in her first WTA Tour event. Our pick, Anna Karolina Schmidlova, missed a great opportunity. She got to the quarters, didn't play the big points well against Claire Liu. And then Liu lost in the semis to Katarina Baindl, who is no great shakes. She made her first final in over 5 years. She was $25 at the start of the tournament. I don't know what price Timofeyeva was because she was off the bottom of my sheet. So she was at least $60. So that was a boil over. And we had a bit of an upset. Well, we got a void bet in our match pick, which made headlines around the world.
That was unlucky. I followed you in on that one. I played all the different markets we spoke about there, and I thought it was a brilliant call. And I watched the match, and it was in controversial styles. You'll allude to what actually happened there, but my first reaction was me and you. I couldn't care less about anybody else. I was thinking about our money and how lucky we were.
Yeah, Amarisa Tot, the Hungarian debutant, she won't win any awards for sportsmanship, but I think it was more about Shui Zhang's reaction. She lost it. It was it looked like a bad line call, and she reacted very badly to it, and probably more reflective of her mental state, as discussed previously, than anything else. But a lot of high-profile sites were saying that Tot had rubbed away the mark before it had been inspected, the ball mark, and it hadn't. The umpire had seen the ball mark. Zhang had complained for 2 minutes about it. The supervisor came down, said there was nothing she could do about it. And then Zhang won the next point when they restarted. And that was when Tot rubbed out the ball mark, which was kind of fair enough because that's where the ball would go on that side for serve. It was right in the corner of the deuce court for a serve. So it was fair enough. Zhang lost it again. Then she got broken. And then she quit. So it wasn't like, I think a lot of the reports were sort of claiming that Tot had rubbed out the ball mark, Zhang had quit. She'd actually been broken first. I wonder if she'd have held serve, she might well have continued. But however way you cut it, Tot won. She celebrated, probably a bit over the top celebrations considering the state her opponent was in. But her first tour win might be a last. She's not going to play in that many tournaments of this caliber. But for us, we were one game shy of landing a nice plus 300 winner. So never mind.
when you watch the game match shows there, we alluded to the fact that Zhang is absolutely, gone to pieces her match. And she was a woman on complete edge, wasn't she, in that match? It was just a question until she quit. She wasn't looking good. She was dropping serve. She was being broken against an opponent that clearly she was better than. And there's clearly a problem, as we've said, all the way through. And I just think she was waiting for any opportunity to withdraw and retire from that match or pull out of that match, and she got it with the line call, and she made the most of it. Really, I feel. So anyway, we've said about her to be one to fade, and I don't think you're going to see either of them play much tennis for the rest of the year. I think Yang's obviously someone who needs a lot of go back to the drawing board and start on her game. This week, as we say, we had 3 tournaments. They started on Monday. Monday. Today, we're filming this on Monday. Some of the action started today as well. Some of the play is currently underway, and especially where I am here in Hamburg, it's been affected by the weather. When I landed about 6 hours ago now, it wasn't that bad. A bit of cloud, but quite warm, very hot, humid. But in the last hour, we've had thunderstorms. The rain has come. Obviously, they've got a roof on the main court, but they've got to play indoors. Now, you're going to tell me all about the conditions in Hamburg. Sean told me yesterday about the men's conditions. I'm sure the women's as well. But there was indoor courts action. It changes the whole complex of the betting, isn't it? It was a clay court event. Then it could go indoors. We don't know. And the weather forecast isn't great. It's on and off rain for the remainder of the week. So before we look at the betting, Rory, just give us the breakdown of the conditions here and what we need to look at if we are trying to identify, which is a very, very difficult task, trying to identify a potential winner here, given the uncertainty about the weather.
Yeah, I mean, if it does go indoors for great swathes of it, that's going to make a big difference because Hamburg is the slowest clay court on the tour. It certainly was last year. Last year, it was a tiny bit slower than Budapest. And if you saw much of Budapest last week, you'll know what to expect. Very attritional, very hard to hit winners. As you say, the weather, once they get on court, it's fine, because clay dries out quickly, it'll be okay. Temperatures around 20 degrees, so that's 68 Fahrenheit all week. It's going to be slow. It's going to be a bit heavy. But obviously, once it goes indoors, things get a lot quicker. I mean, I'm watching right now Julian Niemeyer up against the young German, her young compatriot, Ella Seidel. And Niemeyer's having all sorts of problems. She's actually a break up now in the third, but she's been having a right torrid time. Yeah, it's an interesting tournament because, say, very, very slow, but if the roof's on, that's going to make it quicker. So hopefully, the roof won't be on too much this week.
Well, tomorrow's going to be rain. They said to me Wednesday's going to be rain. Well, hopefully the bets. I think when you're betting this tournament here, you've got to really be careful with the weather. And obviously, I would recommend anybody having a play to look at the weather forecast and maybe keep your stakes at a smaller size because the conditions will change daily here, I believe, and hourly. I think the conditions what I saw 4 hours ago, humid, warm, and now rainy, thunderstorms. It's dark. Obviously, it's 6:30 local time, but it's definitely changing, and I think it's going to be like that all week. Let's have a look at the outright markets. Donna Vekic, our pick for Wimbledon. She's the favourite here. I wouldn't say that she's best on clay court, but she's a 5-1 favourite. It's not the strongest of fields. Sheriff is 750. We have Azario, who is pretty solid on the clay. She's 8-1. Niemeyer, as you said there, she's struggling currently. Currently, she's 8-1 with Bet, but she's a breakup, so she should progress. Then we have Trevisan at 10-1. Then we have Ponetsova at 11. Podozorova at 11. Palina at 14. And someone else at 10, who I can't read. Pera at 10. I couldn't read my writing at 10-1. I haven't got the odds in front of me, and I've written them down. And I can't read my writing. So Pera is 10-1. The draw, is there any bias in the top half of the bracket, the bottom half of the bracket from what you've seen? I had a brief look at it. I didn't think there was much advantage either way. And if there was, obviously that could change if we have to play indoors compared to outdoors, and it could change under the roof as well.
Yeah, I thought the bottom half was slightly the weaker of the two. So in the top half, obviously you got Donna Vekic, top seed. I think she's a fave this week. She won the Hopman Cup last week with Borna Coric in Nice for Croatia. She's one, if the roof's on, that's definitely going to favour her. If it's not, it's going to be very, very slow for her. Also in the top half, Martina Trevisan, who won very comfortably yesterday. Bernarda Pera lost in the first round, defending her Budapest title last week. So a bit of pressure for her. Obviously lost a lot of ranking points because of Budapest. Camila Osorio is always to be respected on clay. And then you've got Julia Grabher, who's having her best season. Bottom half, Maya Sheriff, who I backed in Palermo. She went out in the semis in 3 sets, the eventual winner, Qinwen Zheng. Palermo was quicker than here. So I'd say the slower conditions here, if the roof's off, play into the Egyptians' favour. You got Yasmin Paolini, who lost to Zheng in the Palermo final. Nadia Podoroska, who's definitely back to form. She reached the French Open final 2019, but she's definitely found some form. I think Sheriff is the one to be on here. Doesn't have the easiest opener against home player Eva Lees, but she should beat Panna Uvardi, the Hungarian, in round 2. Quarterfinals, you're looking at possibly Timofeeva, the Budapest winner, who has to be something of an auto fade this week, Arantxa Rus or Podoroska, and then you're possibly looking at Paolini in the semis. So I think Paolini was struggled to go deep this week. She reached the final last week. So, there's a lot of tennis in her legs, you'd think. But I think Sheriff at the price, what is she, plus 750, plus 800, around that price? Plus 750. I mean, she's not a huge price, but I think she'll give us a run.
Yeah, I bet her in the semi-finals. I was the kiss of death for her. I got her beat. I bet her in the semi-finals in the match bet at plus 120 against Ken Win-Zheng. And she after set 2, I thought she'd won this, and she went favourite. Yeah. She was plus 120 before the match, and then after set 2, she became a minus 150 favourite, and she lost it. But I think you're right. I think if she can replicate that kind of form in a tournament of question marks about many contenders, we know she's in form. She knows she likes the conditions. I think plus 750 is a good call. I definitely agree with you in opposing Donna Vekic after her win last week. It's just also a fave for me, as I say. And Sheriff, I'm going to use it again, Rory. We can't see anyone shooting her down, can we, this week?
No,
plus 750.
Not this week.
No one can shot the shot.
Sorry, I would say about Niemeyer as well, who looks like she's about to win here. Slow conditions are not suiting her at all either. I mean, she's a big hitter. This is a sort of surface where you really need to keep the unforced errors low, play the percentages, stay in points. You're not going to get very far just trying to hit winners, playing lights out tennis. It's just too slow for that sort of thing.
So the one pick for us, just the one pick, Rory? On the nothing.
Yeah, I think because the top half's wide open. I'm happy just to play Sheriff at plus 750.
The Sheriff is the pick here at plus 750. Each way here in Hamburg. I'll be watching the women's on Wednesday. Tomorrow I'm at the tournament. I'll be watching the men's. I think that they've got a big women's day on the Wednesday here, and it's billed as Ladies Day. Hence why I bought the tickets, Rory. But I wanted to go and see the ladies on Ladies Day, so I'll be there on Wednesday, and hopefully I'll be seeing Sheriff in action. I'll give you an update on our Instagram page at Because We Win. And on our YouTube channel as well, which I'll come on a little bit later as well. But if you do subscribe to our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to Betting Weekly Studios at Because We Win, and you'll see all the updates from me here over in Hamburg. There is 2 matches that have caught your interest, Rory. Arantxa Rus, the number 7 seed, is up against that winner from last week in Budapest, Timofeya. Plus 225 for Maria Timofeya. You can't see her. She's won on debut. She's got now the public limelight on her. She's on front page news, not only back page news. She's come from nowhere, and she goes up against Rus, the number 7 seed, minus 295. I think it's going to be very hard for her to replicate last week's win here in Hamburg.
I agree, but I think even with I think the auto fade for her as far as the tournament's concerned, but I think these odds just look wrong based on form, and obviously she's just won a tournament. Rus, experienced clay courter, Dutch left-hander. She won a 125 in Spain last month, won a pretty average ITF 40K tournament at home at The Hague at the start of the month. And then she went out in the first round in Palermo to eventual runner-up Yasmin Paolini. Timofeeva, obviously, as you said, she came from absolutely nowhere to Budapest. A long, hard week. I think those exertions, they'll catch up with her at some point. Rus should be fresh, but she had a bit of a gap. I'm a little bit worried about her fitness. She had a bit of a gap before Palermo, and she went out first round there. I've got question marks over her. The thing is, conditions will be very similar to last week, speed-wise, so long as the roof's not on, of course. But I wouldn't have thought, well, maybe they would get the centre court rather than an outside court. If it's slow and the conditions are similar, I think Timofeeva's just overpriced. I mean, I don't think she's going to get very far because of the exertions of last week. But she's in form against Rus, who can throw in the odd stinker. And I think for here, if Timofeeva, as I said, fatigue could come into it if it goes 3. I think if Timofeeva wins this, she does it in straight sets. So I'm going to have a small bet on Timofeeva. The bet is Timofeeva minus 1.5 sets at plus 460. I just think the odds should be closer, and I just don't see her winning it if it goes 3. So it kind of almost by process of elimination, I want to be on her side because I think she's too big a price. And I know, yeah, she's come from nowhere. She beat some good opposition last week, very, very surprisingly. And I just, yeah, it just, I mean, I thought Timofeeva would be sort of about plus 150 for this match. Plus 225 looks really big for a player who's obviously in form.
I think the betting public and obviously Bet Rivers odds compilers believe that last week's going to take it out of her, celebration, and to then come back to her for a bump. If she's on the centre court, yeah, she may be able to raise her game. But if she goes on one of the outside courts, so has to play indoors in front of nobody, then it's going to be very hard to lift that kind of levels. And I suppose that's why people are looking at her and offering the price of 225. But we're going to go with her minus 1.5 sets. And I take your point. If she's going to win, she's going to win it 2-0. She's going to keep that run going. So you might as well go big or go home. So plus 460 is definitely the angle there. Timofeeva minus 1.5 sets is Rory's first pick. Another match that you have asked us to have a look at here is the tournament favourite, Donna Vekic. She's minus 295 against Muller at plus 225. They met once before. Vekic has the 1-0 lead. Do you see her adding to that? You said that she may struggle in conditions here, depending if the route's on or off. Would you be betting her at minus 295?
I wouldn't be. I mean, Storm Hunter's not been playing badly of late. And as I say, these slow courts could give Vekic some issues.
I said Muller. I apologise. I said Muller. It's Storm Hunter. I'm reading my writing here. I've written it down, and my writing looks more like Muller than Hunter. I apologise.
Should be a doctor.
See that. Look at that. So that's my little note. I've got no computer. Just my notes here, and my writing is so bad. I called Storm Hunter Muller. So I apologise. It's a Storm Hunter. I think Muller's a middle name, but Storm Hunter. Sorry, plus 225.
Yeah. I'm not going to have a bet on this now. I think this is one get involved with in running because part of me suspects that Vekic might make a really slow start here and then become a backable price. But I think this is one. Yeah, I said the slow courts to give her problem. If they're indoors, different story. Vekic wins this. So enough uncertainty about even before we get to the match. Before they even start playing, we've got uncertainty about the conditions. So I think one to get involved with in running. I was going to say Wednesday in Hamburg, Ladies' Day. Is there something planned on the Reaper Barn? Is there?
Well, I don't even know what that is.
Come on, Nigel.
I've no idea. Rory, just because you go to that level, don't bring me down to your level, Jiwani. What are you on about? Never been there.
Butter wouldn't melt, Nigel. Butter wouldn't melt.
Taxi for the Reaper Barn. Sorry.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't know.
In play.
Know what it is. Sorry.
We'll have a bet in play on this, maybe, but nothing beforehand.
Okay, so that's the bet there. It's the one bet then for tomorrow here in Hamburg, and that is Timofeeva plus 1.5 sets. Sorry, minus 1.5 sets at plus 460, and we're hoping that she continues her fantastic run of form that saw her win the Budapest title here in Germany. Now we're not far away from here in Warsaw in Poland. It's a big tournament for Iga Świątek, the world #1, going back to her homeland, and she is a heavy favourite here to win this tournament. Before you give you the odds, Rory, it's on a hard court in Warsaw. What's the conditions like, and what have we got to look for here? Obviously, going to be very heavily favoured in Iga Świątek's favour. I don't think the Poles would want her to come away without winning the tournament, so I think everything will be in her advantage. But is there any chance we could get her beat, and what have we got to look for if we are going to get her beat?
Well, it should be Iga Świątek benefit. I mean, this is the first year it's on hard court. So the last 2 years it's been indoor clay, and Caroline Garcia won it 12 months ago, but obviously it's got no bearing on this. The surface is the Lakehold brand, which is the same as US Open. And watching today is actually reasonably quick. Got a decent number of aces being served. The bigger hitters were able to keep the rally short. I mean, I saw enough to make me think Świątek might not have things all her own way, but yeah, it's a pin job, really. It's a real, chuck a dart and have a guess, because, you got Iga Świątek, very short price. Then Karolina Mukova, who don't know if she's fully fit. Obviously, last time we saw her, she was injured at Wimbledon. And then it's 16-1 bar, $16 bar with Katerina Siniakova. But you take the top two out, it's a very poor lineup. I mean, Marketa Vondrousova was supposed to be here, but she's pulled out, obviously still recovering from Wimbledon. But yeah, I expected it. I was thinking because obviously it's Swiatek's tournament, everyone's here to see her. I thought it'd be slower, but from the evidence today, it's actually looking reasonably quick. So there might be a chance of getting her beat later on. You just never know.
I think the question for bettors here with Bet Rivers is whether you think Iga Swiatek is going to win it or she isn't. It's a simple question of that. Iga Swiatek to win this tournament is -225. Mukova is the second seed in the bottom half of the draw. She's $4, so 4-1. Siniakova is 16-1. Linda Fabertovic 20-1. Clara Towson coming back to form, a girl that I've always said I thought was destined for the top, but she's had so many problems with injuries. I'd like to see her go deep here. She's 22-1. Sasanovic is 22-1. Noskova 22-1, and Bang is 25-1. It's hard to really to oppose Swiatek. I haven't seen the Bet Rivers website. You've looked at it, so I'm guessing there's probably no each way. There is no each way market when you think Swiatek is a -225. So there's no real each way play either. It's just a question of whether you want to bet Swiatek at -225 or you don't. I think you're probably best to bet round by round rather than take the -225 to win it.
Absolutely.
Let's have a look at one match that you have highlighted. It's Claire Yu against Yu Yan. Claire Liu lies a -$2 to win this match. Yan is +155. Liu is the higher ranked opponent. She's 78 in the world. Yan is +116. There will be about 28 different markets available on this match and all the women's matches on the Bet Rivers website. There is no better coverage on any tennis tournament in the world in stateside than Bet Rivers. Sorry, start again. There is no better coverage across the tennis world, in the betting world, than what Bet Rivers offer you on their website. There'll be 26 markets, and you can also live stream this match or any of the matches we've spoken about here on your home tablet, your mobile, or any of your mobile devices, wherever you are in the world. So that is a great thing to do as well if you're missing the action. This match here, you've highlighted it out. What's your angle of thinking here in this match?
I just think Yu Yan is a bit big here. She hasn't played since Wimbledon, hasn't played at all on clay. As I said, Claire Liu got to the semis in Budapest last week, going out to Katarina Baindl. She's really can blow hot and cold, and going from very slow clay to fairly quick hard court, I think might be a bit of an issue. So my angle here, I think Yuan could win a set. And I think she might win the first one just because Liu, as I say, coming from that slow clay, Yuan is a player I like. I've backed her before, and she played very well at last year's US Open. She likes quick conditions. So there'll be similar conditions to that US Open. Fitness is always a bit of a question mark with her. And as I say, Liu can just blow really hot and cold. So my bet here is Yu Yan to win the first set, and that is at +133. I think she's too big a price on the money line, but just have a feeling that Liu might work her way into it a bit more once we get to the second set. But I fancy Yuan to take the first.
So Yu Yang to take the first set at +133, did you say?
That's correct, yeah.
+133. So a load of plus money bets for you here on this show, and I'm sure we're going to have some more plus money bets when we move across to Switzerland, to Lucerne. And this to me is a really interesting tournament. The outright market, we're going to come on to the big talking point, but before we look at the outright market, give us a little bit about the conditions again, Rory, here in Lucerne, another clay court event. The number one seed has pulled out. He explains to us what happened there and break down what you expect to see over the next 7 days in the Swiss. Is it Swiss Alps? Are that in the Alps into here?
Not quite. It is altitude though. So yeah, I think it's your dodgy writing. I think you've got Lucerne. It's Lausanne. It's the other one. Yeah.
All right, there you go. See, it's my dodgy writing again. Apology. I'm having a bit of a mare today.
No worries. No, this is a really interesting tournament. So in contrast to Hamburg, the slowest one, this is one of the quicker clay tournaments of the year. And last year it was very similar pace-wise, stats-wise to how Madrid played this year. And you've said the reason. Lausanne, like Madrid, not quite as much, but it is at altitude. It's 453 meters above sea level. Madrid is 646. and you could see it. You can see the ball travels a lot quicker than in your normal sort of clay court conditions. So it's, weather-wise, tomorrow looks like it's going to be a washout, but it is set fair for the rest of the week. Starting around 20 degrees Celsius, temperatures getting up to the mid-20s, so that's high 70s Fahrenheit by the end of it. Not a strong field. Irina Begu was the number one seed. She's a late withdrawal. She reached the final of the 125 in Romania at the weekend. But all the attention's on the 16-year-old sensation, Mira Andreeva, and she's been priced up as the favourite. After some changes in the draw, she's up as we speak. Let's get the score now. She's up against Diana Yastremska, the very talented but temperamental Ukrainian, and Andreeva's about to win that. She actually got a bagel in the first set, and she's 5-2 up in the second. So looks like she's
that's an impressive performance. That
6-2. Yeah, Yastremska's very feast or famine. I mean, she can be very good and she can be awful on her day. But yeah, so she comes through that, which she should do. She'll face Hungary's Anna Bondar, who actually looked pretty good earlier in beating Aliona Bolsova. Andreeva's in the bottom half. You also have Sara Sorribes-Tormo, although I think conditions will be far too quick for her. Young Swiss, so she'll have home support, Celine Naef, who actually made the Hopman Cup final, surprisingly, with Leandro Riedi. It was a real shock there. She's in at the bottom half of the draw as well. But the top half, to me, doesn't look particularly strong. And we'll look at the odds shortly, but there's one player I do like the look of for this, who I think there's just a bit of juice in her price.
Yeah, I mean, the surprising thing here, and obviously she is the teen sensation. Obviously, all the media attention is going to be on her. Can she win her first WTA event? She's going to win future majors. There's no doubt about that. But she's 3-1, Andreeva, to win this tournament here, which is, to me, I know she's winning 6-love, 6-2, and I'm guessing that Bet Rivers and all the other betting companies will react to that win and probably even cut her even more in the betting. She'll be a 2-1 chance after that win. But I saw the pressure get to her at Wimbledon a little bit. Obviously, when she lost her head a bit, she smashed her racket, she got a code violation. And my strategy here would be, she's going to go deep. There's no doubt about it, she's going to go to semi-finals or final. But I think when she's on the cusp of winning a tournament, I'd want to fade her in the final against a more experienced opponent, because I think she's gettable emotionally. So I make the firms right to make her a favourite here. She's currently 3-1, and I understand why, because all the handle's going to be for her. But I think if she gets to the final against a more accomplished opponent, I think she's a fade. The more accomplished opponents in the draw: Sorribes-Tormo plus 650, Cocciaretta 8-1, Navarro 11-1, Cornet very experienced 15-1, Bronzetti at 15-1 as well. I'm guessing that I probably haven't even mentioned the person that you want to be with, Rory, there.
Not yet, no. She's a little bit lower down. She's in the top half, Olga Danilovic, and her top half doesn't look all that strong, especially with Begu pulling out. The Serbian who gave Ons Jabeur a scare at Roland Garros, and she won the ITF 100K in Madrid just before that, also on clay. She won the 125 in Bastad, Sweden, the week before last. That obviously took its toll because she retired during her first round match in Palermo. She's another player whose fitness is always a little bit of a concern. But if she is fit, so she's obviously had most of last week off, she's the one I think has been missed by the market. Clara Burel in round one won't be easy. But after that, her next big test will probably be Anna Bogdan in the quarterfinals. And Bogdan won that 125 in Romania, beating Begu in the final. So she's got had a lot of tennis lately. Danilovic could face, I think she could face Andreeva in the semis. Hang on, I think I might have got that wrong. I think she's in the opposite half. Anyway, I think at plus 2,000, I need to look at the draw again, because it's been moving about because Begu's out. So they've been shifting the draw around. But I think at plus 2,000, I think if she was fully fit, she should be half that price, in my opinion, because she's in form. I think she'll enjoy the conditions. The conditions will help her serve, certainly help her serve. And I think she's a bet here. And she's in the top half. Andreeva's in the bottom half. So they wouldn't meet until the final. I think $20 is a really big price for her. So I'll back her 1 point each way outright. There is a little risk. Maybe that's factored into the price about her fitness. But she's the one with real upside in this tournament on those top names in the betting. Fast conditions, in form, likes clay. I think she's got a really good chance.
I think my advice for anyone who playing at the moment, we're coming towards the end of the season. There's people who play a lot of tennis. You just come on the back of Wimbledon, the French Open as well. The US Open coming around next month, and then the drop off. There's a lot of people already losing motivation, and you could see last week in the shock winners in both the Hopman Cup and obviously in Budapest. And I think you can look even further down the list. I mean, there's people here 50, 66 to 1 who should never be 66 to 1 in a tournament like this. So I think the favourites this week are opposable, including Iga Swiatek. I think Iga Swiatek, I think all of them are opposable as well. So, and Andreeva, my strategy would be to oppose her in the semi-final or the final up against a much more established opponent. I've got very quickly to give us one match you like the look of here. Lisa Cornet up against Victoria Golubic. Pronounce the name for me, or I can't remember writing it. Golubic, there you go.
Yes.
Minus 278, Cornet, plus 220, Golubic here. Cornet is the 7th seed. She seems to be around for years, Cornet. You're going to get with the veteran. It does seem a very, very low price for me, plus 278. She's a very high price betting to take. So I wouldn't bet that with your money, Rory.
No, I think she's far too short. I mean, the spread to me looks interesting. And I think the thing to remember here is Golubic was pretty poor last week, but very slow conditions. These conditions are going to be a lot quicker. Home support, I think she's got a lot more going for her. I would have a lean to Golubic and perhaps a lean on the spread for Golubic. I mean, Cornet at minus 278 is crazy short. I mean, she shouldn't be that price for any match. And Golubic on her day is very capable. She had a decent grass court season. Quick conditions on clay should be right up her street. So probably a little lean towards Golubic here. But Cornet at minus 278, not a price anyone should get involved with.
And she's not in any form as well, Cornet as well. Minus 270. No. That's a price that's built up on history rather than current form. And Golubic, obviously, with the home support as well, is a big factor here. And plus 220 or any market. And remember, there's a huge amount of markets available on the BetRivers website. Head to them. These matches do start early, around about 5 o'clock Eastern time, very early in the morning. So make sure you get your wages down tonight, so you don't miss out tomorrow morning, because these are all in Europe and they early start because obviously we are way behind the American market on our times over here. Remember, there are 4 ways to follow us here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. You can download the podcast, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, on your preferred podcast provider. Just give us that a little thumbs up and a rate and review, and you won't miss any of the content we have there. You can also go to our brand new YouTube channel. It's the Because We Win. It's the Betting Weekly Studios. So we've broken away from our old handle, which was at the BetRivers Network, and we've gone alone. We're like Harry Styles leaving One Direction. We're like, and we've gone on our own, left the band, and we've set up on our own. So give us a follow there, and give us a subscribe there as well, and also give us a follow on our Instagram page and our Twitter page, which is shared by all the handicappers at Because We Win. On the Instagram, you'll be following my story here over the next couple of days over in Hamburg, and I definitely will not be going to the Reeperbahn or whatever Rory Jiwani tells me to go to. I've got a little bit of tennis. I'm going to a couple of museums, so nothing that like that. Anyway, Rory, just give us a recap of your bets if you could.
Yeah, so for Hamburg, outright pick is Maya Sheriff, a point each way at plus 750. Matches, I'm going for Maria Timofeeva, minus 1.5 sets against Arantxa Rus. That's plus 460. In Warsaw, no outright bet, but match betting, I'm going for Yuan to win the first set against Claire Liu. That's plus 133. And in Lausanne, just one outright bet there. Olga Danilovic, 1 point each way at $20 plus 2,000.
There you are. Thank you very much, Rory, for joining me. Have a great week. We'll speak to you again on Monday. Tomorrow, I'll be joined by Sean Calvert looking at the men's action here in Hamburg. Hopefully, the weather stays bright. Hopefully we get some tennis action. And if you are betting here, check the weather forecast before you head to the Bet Rivers website. That is my advice. Look at these notes. Old school Seeley. Look at that. Old school Seeley. And I still can't read the names even off my own writing. But there you go. Anyway, take care. Have a great night, Rory. And we'll speak to you next week. All the best, everyone.